What does a Skyrim-inspired first-person RPG, a dialogue-based RPG with not just a goblin partner but also political chaos, an RPG inspired by Souls games, and copious amounts of gnome butt all have in common? They're all indie RPGs worth being added to your wishlist, or in some cases even playing a free demo or trying it out in early access. These are 5 indie RPGs that are kind of more of the AA variety, not the AAA variety, that are worth keeping your eye on and maybe testing out and playing. Let's get into it. Gnome Butt's action combat with deep customization and various playstyles, all in a beautiful world rendered in Unreal Engine. Well, these are the cornerstones of our first game, an indie developed RPG, Forsaken Realms Vahrin's Call, which I've been watching for just over a year now and continue to be more and more impressed with the gameplay videos they've been showing off. Oh, and quick side note here, I've actually had the opportunity to speak with the devs of this team, and they were very forthcoming, very kind, and offered a lot of excess B-roll and things like that for me to use in this video. So bonus points just for that. Also, of course, this. Look, I never said that I was an adult. I never said that I was mature, and I find that funny. I just do. I hope you do too. Vahrin's Call is a story-driven action RPG in development by Titan Rock that puts customization as a cornerstone of their project, with the ability to build your character with magical spells, devastating arrows, or becoming a whirlwind of bladed death. In Vahrin's Call, you will play the role of one of the few fighters still remaining in the great city of Vahrin's Call, having fended off the Crux swarm, but at great cost, leaving the combined forces of the free cities decimated, with few to defend against an even greater threat. Will you triumph? On your way in this dangerous world, you will have 4 unique weapon sets: the imposing greatsword, the devastating axe or hammer, the protective shield, or the swift and deadly dual wield set. For each, you'll have 2 weapon skills to start, but gain more as you adventure. The same way, you will also get new armor, magic, consumables, and even weapons themselves, adventuring and exploration. All of this is part of their classless system where you'll be able to adjust your playstyle on the go. Special attacks may come as part of a side quest or of killing a specific enemy. They may be found in shops in distant locations, encouraging you to explore the world of Vahrin's Call. And the deeper you go into the depths of the world, the stronger abilities you'll find. Vahrin's Call is not aiming for a AAA experience, nor are they trying to break any barriers with this RPG. Rather, they're trying to deliver a satisfying RPG experience for fans of the genre, and after speaking with the devs just a little bit, the game honestly feels like a labor of love. The game will be fully voiced by real actors, having recently put out a casting call, something they're excited about because it makes interacting with the inhabitants of their world more immersive and interactive. You can wishlist Vahrin's Call now on Steam. From gnome butts and dual-wielding badassery to Stardew Valley? But let's say Stardew Valley with combat as a focus, with a massive procedurally generated dungeon, Vitramotos, filled to the brim with challenging creatures and bosses you can conquer. But you won't be going alone, as perhaps the most adorable looking ghost companion I've ever seen, Memento, will be by your side. Memento insists that they contain your locked memories. Memento will grow with you and enhance your abilities, and maybe unlock those memories for you. But there's more to it, much more. The connection to Stardew Valley isn't just the graphical style. You'll be able to interact with people of the village, many of whom you will save from that very dungeon, learn their stories, even read their diaries, all while crafting incredible weapons, building your own base, and helping to rebuild the town. The game currently has no date for its early access, but it can be wishlisted on Steam, and by the end of 2023, it already surpassed 50,000 wish lists. When it does enter early access, you'll be able to provide them with feedback that will help shape the game. Emberville is being developed by Cygnus Cross with input of content creator Co Carnage, who is the executive producer. I covered this game in quite a bit more detail on this channel, so if you want to learn more about it, I'll have that linked in the description so you can go check out exactly what Emberville is all about. Now this next game, well, can I interest you in an ARPG lovingly referred to as a game with Souls-like mechanics from a top-down perspective, inspired by the RPG greats like Baldur's Gate, Diablo, and Elder Scrolls. And on top of all that, make it up to 4-player co-op. Mortal Crux is unique on this list because it will be an RPG that can be played with more people than developers making the game. It is a solo dev project by Jesse Walker, where you'll be able to adventure through the dark fantasy world with up to 3 other friends, for a 4-player co-op experience straight out of the late 90s and early 2000s. I wanted to put it on this list specifically because of what it evokes for me: the incredible Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance games of the early 2000s, as well as the lesser known but still incredible ARPGs Champions of Norath. Mortal Crux promises a non-linear experience with engaging combat and detail-focused systems, something that PC Gamer was bold enough to call a Larian quality in the game when they did a piece on it back in 2023, because of how the fire propagates in a realistic manner, frozen enemies can be shattered, and the ability to block spells in mid-air with a thrown weapon. Yes, the ability to block spells in mid-air with a thrown weapon, and vice versa. Recently, they've also shown off players climbing atop a troll to battle it in a very Dragon's Dogma-esque fashion, or hypnotizing it with satisfying animations to match. Quite honestly, it's the attention to system detail that has me the most excited for the game, because it's looking like an ARPG that, while inspired by many of those old classes, could surpass them in some key ways, bringing depth that sometimes is lacking in this subgenre. Getting to play it with friends as a co-op multiplies that appeal, but it also goes far, far beyond that. A tantalizing tip on stealth is hard to ignore. No matter what target you are trying to sneak up on, if you are successful enough, you can kill them with a single hit. The stealth system will be entirely based on sound and line of sight, with fantastic benefits if done well. And you know, like, hell, the game even has fishing, and they're planning on it being a full-on mini game of fishing. That's gotta be a crowd pleaser, right? I mean, that's what they showed off in their trailer, even. But if you're looking for a game that you can play right now that's a bit more complete, and actually has up to about 15 hours of gameplay already in its early access state, and maybe you like a little bit of Skyrim, let's take a look at Tainted Grail: Fall of Avalon.
Every time a world falls, new trails emerge from the debris. People like you know that the most valuable rewards can be found off the beaten path. People like you know that to venture out there with the weirdness lurking, one needs to be well prepared.
The immersive first-person open-world RPG of Arthurian legend from Awakened Realms. Of the games on this list, this is probably the one that is closest to not being considered indie, given that Awakened Realms has several more games, many in the tactical RPG genre, like Tainted Grail Conquest. Tainted Grail, though, is a departure, as a first-person action RPG that puts choice at the forefront of how you play the game, with stealth, magic, huge swords, shields, or ranged combat. It invites you to try different things and find the playstyle that fits you best. And yes, you can fish in this game as well. I reviewed Tainted Grail not too long ago and found the game to be a satisfying romp with a fun first-person combat that'll evoke Skyrim, a beautiful but dark world that is still expanding and really shines in that satisfying crunch of combat. It's also, like many of the games on this list, a beautiful and engaging AA game worth trying if first-person style is up your alley, just to see what fun you can have. It successfully evokes its dark Arthurian world with enough tidbits here and there to encourage you to go off exploring or follow the main quest to unravel the secrets of King Arthur and uncover the darkness of the necromancy. A story that spans over 1,000 years and delves into the weirdness and many dark secrets inspired by the books of Krzysztof Sikorski. Like I said, I have reviewed this game in its current early access state, and I did find it to be pretty fun. I've linked that down below in the description if this game is like one of those that's really like sounds interesting to you, so you can get an idea if you're not quite ready to spend the money to buy it in early access. Our last game on this list is startlingly different. Very, very different from the others, in a good way. It is a fantasy RPG inspired by none other than Disco Elysium, one of the most highly regarded RPGs ever. Esoteric Ebb is a tabletop-inspired RPG that's very tongue-in-cheek and already surprisingly deep, with an interesting story and a great deal of choice with their branching dialogue choices. As the cleric, you will navigate a politically charged fantasy scape inspired by the likes of Baldur's Gate and Planescape Torment alongside your goblin companion. It boasts open-ended quest turn-based encounters using 5e with your customized cleric rotation as you encounter several weird NPCs throughout the world with branching dialogues that actually make a difference. The game really plays entirely different from anything else here. Part point and click, part dialogue simulator, part turn-based dice roller, part visual novel. It sounds esoteric. But you can actually try the demo for free to get an idea of whether you want to put it on your wish list by going right over to Steam right now. And I would recommend giving it a shot. All you could potentially lose out on is maybe a little bit of storage space for a little while, and maybe a little bit of time as you get to explore the game and see what it's all about. I personally enjoyed my time in it and found it to be charming in a really interesting way. And it's a game that is, again, a very, very different type of RPG than the other ones on this list. One of the games on this list that I've actually covered a lot more is the game from Carnage, the executive producer, because I think it's going to be a very, very interesting game. One that I think could do very well and will be a very satisfying gameplay loop if they can pull it off. And that game is Emberville, which you can find out more about in this video right here. You can kind of see more of the actual details of how the world is going to work, what you'll be able to do, what you won't do, and how responsive the team has already been in trying to fix some things that came up as issues from the community. More videos to come with Vahrin's Call up next, but my name is Redbeard Flynn. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.